Welcome everyone. We will start the meeting at 6:32 p.m. We would like to acknowledge the land that we meet upon today is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. We'll start with the roll call. And we have our guests. We have Felice with us today from the Norman Waterhouse. And we have Abby and Natasha joining us via Zoom. And Councillor Shanks is that apology for today. Do we have any motions to grant leave of absence? Darcy?
I'd like to request a leave of absence until February 2023, starting next month, as I'll be working in the UK on a gap year.
Any other motions to grant leave of absence? Mover and a seconder? Approved. Okay. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Any other motions to grant leave of absence? No. Any current leave of absence? And any non-attendance? No. Just the apology from Councillor Shanks. Quite joined us yet. Okay, we will move on to the public open forum. And tonight we'll have Sam Shetler with us tonight. He's a current youth volunteer and is going to have a presentation for us. I'll hand it over to you, Sam.
Oh no, we need it just so people online can hear you. So there's a round button with a little face and a speaker. Just press that. Yeah, excellent.
Hello, nice. So yes, I have an accent. I apologize ahead of time. Also, I have an awkward surname, Shetler, commonly misspelled for shelter. When I grew up, I thought perhaps that was a bad thing because someone teased me once, but now I'm quite fond of being called Sam Shelter. Yeah, so I'm running the free skateboard workshops alongside Debbie, who's fantastic. And so I have a lot to do with the skate park. I was there for about 3 hours this morning. Got a couple good clips, which I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, so I'm running a petition to improve the skate park. Simple things like cold water, shade, soap in the toilet block. I think are all pretty basic asks and self-explanatory. But the biggest ask of the petition is for lights. And if you're familiar with Clonley Park at all, at dusk, they lock the gates and they have a security guard come around and ask people to politely pull their car out. So asking for lights at the skate park is a big ask. And even though I think the answer will be no. It's the number one ask of everybody who uses the skate park, because so many skate parks in South Australia have lights. Manapara, Osborne, Christie's Beach, and it's a very long list. But to double back to kind of what the petition's about, the three basic asks. If you've been to Clonley Park, you know that there's one toilet block that services the skate park and the whole park. I requested to have hand soap in there. Unfortunately, they didn't go for it. They thought perhaps it would be damaged by people who use the skate park. Perhaps they're right. But I figured, we're in a pandemic, people need hand soap. So I included it as part of the petition. And also, as an experiment, I put a bar of soap in the toilet block last Monday, and it has lasted for a whole week. I put hand sanitizer as well, and that walked after 2 days. But so at the current estimate, it might be $52, $1 bar of soap a week. And then the shade is pretty common sense. The council has recently put shade over most of the playgrounds recently, which is fantastic. I have a 4-year-old who really, really appreciates that. And I think the same is definitely needed for the skate park. And as for the cold water, I've also requested that, but that was turned down. I first asked them to fix the water fountain because it would mysteriously stop. And we got to the bottom of that. It was actually a plumbing issue. And now hopefully the next step is to have cold water, because folks literally choose energy drinks and frozen drinks that are high in sugar over cold water, because cold water is not an option. So hopefully that can change. And yeah, that's basically the petition and why I came here to chat to you. And just a quick story, if I have any time left, is that this Saturday, I was at the skate park at dusk when the security guard comes around to kick you out. And a couple people rocked up on their motorbikes and did some burnouts in the grass, obviously tearing up the grass, and then went onto the skate park and did the same there. I don't really mind it on the skate park because it blends in with all the marks that I make myself. But on the grass, it did tear it up, and it was really unfortunate to see. I asked him, why did you do that? And he just said, I don't know, and then just rode on his way. And I tell you that little story because we've been taking care of the skate park a bit more, because we know that we're asking for something. We're asking for the things in this petition. So we've been cleaning the barbecue and putting soap in the bathroom and picking up rubbish in hopes that helps the petition along its way. And Saturday night, to see the motorbike do that to the grass, I was a bit sad for the implications that might have for the petition. And everyone, you're more than welcome to sign and to share it. It's a paper petition, not an online petition, because of the requirements that council has. Cool, thank you.
Would anyone have any questions for Sam or anything they'd like to discuss?
Just a quick question. Do we return these surveys when they're filled out to the High Street office, or to you, or to a particular spot?
You could give them to me or to Debbie, and I'm sure they'll find their way to me.
Awesome, thank you.
Anyone else? Isaac?
Yeah, so just to double check, did you say that you had previously asked for hand soap, and it was justified by saying that it might get stolen or broken?
That's right. And I didn't go into details, but I imagine they were thinking a hand sanitizer or a hand soap dispenser, which I imagine might cost more. And I'm also guessing that they're speaking from experience and that things have probably been destroyed in the toilet block before. So yeah, I did request it, and they said for those reasons, vandalism.
Is there a, do you know if there's a hand dryer in the toilet?
Sorry,
Do you know if there's a hand dryer in the toilet block?
that's a good question. I'm not sure because I don't have to wash my hands.
Yeah, no, all good. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head, but I think there is, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think there might be. So there might have been hand soap in there before. Watch, the one time I don't walk away is when there's no more questions.
Any final questions? Then we would like to thank Sam for giving us his presentation, and I encourage everyone to look over the petition that we were given. Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? Katie?
Yeah, just on 7.1, I'm going to declare a perceived conflict of interest because I'm the council representative on the board for the Gawler and District College, but I'm the proxy representative this year. So I'll stay in and vote because I'm not a voting member there, but I just wanted to officially flag that as a declaration.
Any other declarations of interest? No, okay, then we will move on to the confirmation of minutes. Would someone like to move the minutes? Jack. And the seconder? Brenna? All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Do we have any business or issues arising from the minutes? No. Okay, then we will move on to decision reports. 7.1, the Youth Sponsorship Program Review and Youth Space Student Leadership Award. Would someone like to move the recommendation in the report? Brenna? Or is there any discussions? Okay, would we like to discuss the report? Cody?
Yeah, well, yeah, again, just saying, flagging the conflict of interest, but staying in the room and voting. And I think this will be something really good with the leadership award. Is just a question around, is this budget bid is going to be not just a one-time one, but it's going in the recurring budget, is that correct?
Yes, through the chair, that's correct.
Any other discussions? Any other comments? No, then I will ask for a mover. We'll go Brenner again, and a seconder, Renee. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Then we'll move on to 7.2, the youth development update. And I'll wait for Debbie to come back. Would you like to speak to the report?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I would. Just a couple of items that have been attached. Oh, sorry, hang on 2 seconds. Sorry, apologies, through the chair. Gawler Fringe events, just a big thank you to all of the YAC members that did attend. There was a lot of hours put in voluntary. It was amazing to see everybody there, so that was really great. And a big thank you to the youth band, which is quite new, and their parents for helping us at the last minute with Fringe in the Park. We have some staff out with COVID, so we needed some extra pairs of hands on deck, so that was great. The Skatepark Lessons, as Sam mentioned, are back, and it's been such a wonderful response from public, not only phone calls, but messages on Facebook and when we're out at the skate park as well. So that's a really positive impact, and we've got some call flutes around Gawler as well, advertising those. So big thanks to Sam for his time as a Town of Gawler volunteer. School holiday programs have now been released, and if you want to attend any of those programs and help, more than welcome. You can just let me know. Otherwise, if you want to come as a participant, you're more than welcome to as well. Just book in via Eventbrite. Planning has started for the next 12 months. Any suggestions that you would like to see included in our programs, please let me know. We are currently looking at a few different options. We're looking at an urban arts program, including possible graffiti street art program, but that's a possibility. We're also looking at lots of other things which have come, suggestions by members that use the youth space or members of the public that have approached us looking for different types of programs in our area. The Youth Sponsorships Award, we have an award ceremony being held on the 2nd of May with the Mayor Karen Redman. If anyone would like to attend, you're more than welcome. That will be at 4 o'clock in the James Martin room. Youth Parliament, Amelia has been sponsored by Rotary Light to attend that this year, so hopefully she'll be able to provide us some updates once the program starts. The next thing is the Youth Space Administration Traineeship. We're just currently in our last stages of the interviews, and we'll have further updates very soon. If it's before the next meeting, obviously we'll post it on our group, otherwise we'll bring it back to the next meeting for you. And that's all, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions or would like to discuss anything? Cody?
The youth traineeship, is there enough left in there for how much is it, 13 months or something at the moment?
12 months. It will be a 12-month traineeship.
Any other comments or discussions? Okay, well then I'll ask for a mover. Amelia, and a seconder. Grace. All those in favour? Carry unanimously. Then we shall move on to 8 items listed for discussion. The chair's verbal update. I will quickly talk about things I've done in the past month. I attended the National Young Leadership Awards, the Halogen, last month, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. It's definitely aimed for school-age children, and I am a second-year university student, so that was interesting. But the speakers were really amazing, and I encourage school students or university students, if you can get a group of people to go together when they do it next year, it's really, I found it really rewarding. It was very inspiring. Yes, and I will also quickly discuss the Climate Emergency Action Plan Working Group update. On the 29th of April, there was a online workshop with council members, which myself and Jack attended. And it was basically just an opportunity for council members to discuss the action plan, and the seat members there were able to give support and ideas and help answer questions that any council members had. One of the major outcomes, I guess, for me was that public consultation will aim to be out by mid to late April, so we can all look forward to that. Either Jack or Cody, would you have any comments you'd like to add on to the SEEP? No? Okay, well, we will move on then. to 8.3, the youth advisory panel update. Okay, well, we don't have anything discussed for that. And then 8.4, goal of use accessibility to transport. And I will let Isaac speak on that.
Oh, sorry, just one thing. I just wanted to check that the youth advisory panel update, whether do we have someone attending those meetings still?
So through the chair, Jade will obviously be going as a new chair. So that's been currently set up at the moment. So
All good. It's just last time I thought we said there wasn't a meeting, but there was one. I just wanted to double check we were on top of that, but I can speak to 8 point or the accessibility to transport now, if you like. Yeah, fantastic. So last meeting, Jack obviously informed everybody that there was a meeting which took place between members of the YAC, the department and the mayor. And there were a few things that were discussed in that meeting. On the 16th of March, we received an email with some stuff in it from the department, from DIP. So that was one of the things that we talked about quite a lot was what was mentioned in our report, which was that a number of people who are catching the GA1 and GA2 services, which make up the express services, and they're usually on privately provided buses, they were not paying for the service, while people who caught the GA3 and GA4 services, which is the longer service, which can take up to 2 hours, were paying for that service. So in our report, we asked for some consistency in the payment options and recommended that if they can't put MetroCard scanners on the private services, that they waive the fee completely. The response we got from the department was they have investigated options for installing validators on GA services. However, we unfortunately do not have enough equipment to undertake this. But over the weekend, the new government has announced that all services will be free, which is what we asked for in the first place. So that's fantastic news. Unfortunately, we do have we do have a date now for the opening of the Gawler railway line as well. So the last date was, I think the words that the minister used were immaterial to the, I'm not sure what they were immaterial to, but he said that the opening date was immaterial, but the new date is by the end of June. So that's when that will open. As for VORT testing, I think that's something which we will have to follow up on again. And the new minister, Minister Kutsuntonis, has replaced Minister Wingard now. So we'll continue to look at that. Meanwhile, the department is looking at scheduling improvements for the bus services around town, ways to improve the on-demand service and where that can actually move to. That's repeated there. And then once the Gawler line has opened, they're looking at doing some consultation about things like accessibility. So there have been some upgrades which have been made, but there's still a number of disability pickup spots or access spots for the train service, which are completely out in the open. So if it's a 45-degree day, you're sitting out in the sun, and if it's pouring down, you're sitting out in the rain, just so that the train can see you. Cool. I think that's all.
Does anyone have any discussions or questions? Jack?
I was just gonna, something I flagged in the Facebook group for the youth accessibility to transport was with the added time that we have now between, I guess, now and the new start date for the train, is that we could potentially utilize the time to prepare like materials on train safety, the new Metro apps, because the government scrapped that MetroMate one. And also, you know, like bike parking and how to apply for that, and the fare structure, because there's been, you know, confusions about whether or not uni students get the green or the yellow and stuff like that. So just want to see if there's any interest in sort of pursuing that in the given time that we have?
Would anyone like to discuss Jack's opinions on the matter? English is hard. No comments, no questions?
I'll just add quickly, but obviously if there is anyone who does want to work on that kind of thing, get in contact with Jack or I, or me or Jack, and we can work on that. Maybe we still have to see what form it takes at the moment, but we might ask for some council support, or for the council to ask for some government support on that kind of thing, or recommend to the government what kind of education they should be doing, or we might, do partially our own thing as well. But if that's something you're passionate about, yeah, get in contact with one of us. Don't have to say now, but if you do want to in the future, just let us know.
Cool. Then we will move on to 8.5, which I don't believe is listed in the report, but on my cheat sheet, I have 8.5 as Bike Month. And I believe Jack Gill would like to talk about Bike Month. I will pass over to him.
Okay, so at the last council meeting, council adopted a recommendation that Bike Month be held in October 2022. There were some questions regarding costs or the sort of the event itself. Thank you to Deb, Gia, Cody and Nathan for your answers on that. I'm going to move a motion in the motions without notice that the subcommittee be formed. So there's that coming up, but right now I'm open to any ideas regarding events, social media stuff, campaigns, and all of that. We've got a couple of months until October. So yeah, thank you.
Any questions for Jack, Cody?
So let me just, so the minutes of the last one, the actual thing that we moved last time, we already recommended that a subcommittee be formed and that 4 members be appointed to the subcommittee. So you wouldn't need to move again that one be formed. I think you just have the power to do that now. So just to clarify that, but I don't know if we want to, did we have like a hands up who wanted to be on the committee last time, or was that just a?
Through the chair, no, we didn't, because we hadn't appointed the committee, I believe. Last year.
I think if I recall correctly, the last, like when I first brought up Bike Month, we did have a show of hands, but we decided to postpone because there we had the new committee members that had yet to be formally approved by council. So it's to allow them to be involved.
Sorry, since I'm new to the YAC, I'm not sure how you did it last time. Was it a proper motion for the subcommittee last time, Cody? Do you remember for last year's Bike Month? Or just a show of hands?
I don't remember, to be honest, but in terms of this time's around, yeah, the approval for the subcommittee being formed has already happened at last month's meeting. So whichever way you want to organize that, whether you want to do it, on Facebook or in it, like it's all like the decision's already been made officially. So just whatever way you want to do it, I think.
That's fine. Jack, did you have a preference, since it'll be your subcommittee? Call now or on Facebook?
I'm happy to leave it for Facebook just to let people have a think about it rather than put them on the spot. So, yeah.
Thank
So would I be the one organizing this on Facebook? Because I'm happy to.
Through the chair, you can send it to me or you can add it in our group.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
there any other discussion anyone would like to talk about? No, okay, then we'll move on to items listed for discussion at future meetings. 9.1, the tourism strategy, a digital storytelling by Kirsty Dudley, who was an apology she could not make tonight's meeting. Hopefully this will go ahead in May, so we can look forward to that next meeting. And 9.2 wrap. It will be presented at the next meeting. Okay. And then we will move on to questions without notice. Do we have any questions without notice? Cody?
In terms of budget and the YAC, I know that in the past we've had team building events and that kind of thing. Is that something that, to get something like that going, what would be the process? Does it need funding, or would that be able to be done within budget, or?
Through the chair, I guess it would depend on the activities that you're wanting to do or take part in. Obviously, we do have a budget for youth activities. If it's something that's not too expensive, or would fit within that budget, we can definitely accommodate it. If it was something specific that had quite a high price tag, we'd probably need to do a bid for it. So it would really just depend on the committee and what they were hoping to do. There's lots of stuff we could do in-house for very little cost. So did you have any activities in mind?
I mean, that's something that because we could very easily have just a Mario Kart night at the youth space or whatever with very little funding involved, unless we need to buy a Switch for the youth space, which I'm not against. But like there's been bigger things in the past. I'm not sure if anyone here was there when we did it last time, but we went on one of those places where you go around climbing and forming teams and that kind of thing in the past. But yeah, just happy for any sort of smaller events as well.
Do we have any other questions without notice? No. Okay, then we will move on to motions without notice. Do we have any motions without notice? No.
So I'm not sure if Isaac had anything prepared, but given that there's a new government and a new minister for transport, maybe we wanted to do another motion about talking to the new minister, Coots and Tonus, about vort testing and that kind of thing. I'm not sure what Isaac was thinking on that one.
Would you like to comment, Isaac?
Sure. Yeah, so it's not something I thought about before now, but I think the logic, well, sorry, it is something I thought about. It's just I think probably is better suited to next meeting, given there's a component of it which will probably be, like Jack suggested before, a sort of an education process around safety and stuff for the trains, but also asking for additional things which we haven't got an exhaustive list of yet. So things such as, for example, like if there needs to be more advertising around the trains, if we need more facilities to have bikes there, if there needs to be more, like if there's some accessibility requirements with the for people living with disability, but also for the car park and stuff like that, how we do that. So just because we haven't got an exhaustive list yet, I would recommend that we wait until the next meeting, just so we can get everything in order, and then we can ask.
through the chair, we encourage you obviously to put that as a motion on notice so that we can get the wording correct. Cody, will you be happy to help Isaac with the wording?
Any more questions without notice? Or emotions without notice? No, okay, then we will move to the close of our meeting at 7:07 p.m. Thanks everyone for being so patient with me. We're gonna learn together, yes. Okay, our next ordinary meeting is at 6:30